The Brand Story Media recently organized the Indian Brand and Leadership Conclave 2022 on the theme of Embracing the Change, the New Normal. The conclave was marked with insightful keynotes delivered by nationally renowned personalities including Shri Singh Kolaste, Shri Kabir Bedi, Shri Vinit Goenka, Shri Sameep Shastri and Lakshmi Narayan Tripathi. The conclave saw power-packed panel discussions on Atmanirbhar Bharat and Data is the New Oil, and celebration of Indian brands and leaders with an award ceremony that honored brands and leaders under various categories.
I would like to welcome Mr. Vinit Goenka, spokesperson BJP Delhi, as our next guest of honor. An active politician with a firm commitment to the nation, he is passionate about tapping technology to change the way India works. Mr. Goenka has proved expertise in various fields, in particular information technology, transportation, infrastructure and agriculture. So may I request Dr. Abhay Kaushik, Founder, Director, Editor-in-Chief, to present Mr. Vinit Goenka, the Leader of Hope Award.
My Ram to everybody. Before I start, Kabir ji, मैंने आपकी फिल्म 25 बार देखी होगी, जेम्स बॉन्ड वाली कम से कम. But let me start with something which my father taught, and then that brought me up from my corporate career to this. And if you have known about me, I resigned from IBM Corporation as Vice President and then joined Bharatiya Janata Party because I felt I can do some bit of myself. And that mantra which was there and that I'll talk about today is, Baba used to tell me one mantra, and what was? Ashvaneva, Gajaneva, Sinhaneva, Chaneva, Ajata Putra Balidata, Devo Durbal Ghataka. So he said, Ashvaneva, kabhi hathi ki bali nahi di jati. Nobody sacrifices elephant, bada hota hai. Gajaneva, horses are useful, so nobody sacrifices horses. Sinhaneva, Chaneva, you can't think of sacrificing predators like lion, tiger or leopards because they are very powerful and they will eat you up. Ajat Putra Balidata. Ajat is Bakra. उसी का बेटा जो होता है वो बलि का दाता होता है. He is always sacrificed. And the last line what was taught to me was very important, and that made an impact on my life, and I think that will relate me here. Is Devo Durbal Ghataka. Even gods don't forgive who are weak and meek. भगवान भी जो है कमजोर को माफ नहीं करता, केवल मजबूत को माफ करता है. Is the story of India moving from 1980s till today in the last 45 years. We were far behind in technology. I come from Mumbai, grew up in Mumbai, in the lanes of Mumbai, and I used to see buses full of young girls going to Tandon manufacturing site where they would manufacture components of electronics in Meltron, in SIPS area. And all of a sudden, all of them vanished because, probably in the late 90s, early 2000, we had need to have a leapfrog jump on technology. We had no option but to open the floodgates of our imports. And I don't curse our earlier guards. They had vision. I don't know, I don't relate with that vision, but I won't curse them. They opened the floodgates, and what we saw is opening of imports and killing of domestic production. Those manufacturing units, they are shut. We don't see electronics being manufactured in India. And what we saw is, under the pressure of WTO, or probably the need because we wanted to implement technology, we wanted to embrace technology, we did this mistake or this compulsion, whatever it is. I leave it to your able mind to decide whether it was mistake or it was a compulsion, it was a need or it was a right move. But we don't have domestic manufacturing, and we are not much proud about this. And what were the challenges which killed this domestic manufacturing, indigenous manufacturing? So there was various challenges. Be it be cost of finance, be it be cost of land, be it be cost of power, non-availability of talent, non-availability of skills, or the killing processes of the government, the rapidism of the government. I think that were all coupled, which killed manufacturing here way back in the last 2-3 decades. This is not a right appropriate forum, but I would like to tell you that since 2014, we have been marking this. And see the steps. Skill India, I don't have to introduce that to you. There isn't change which has been done. We didn't have facilities of research and development. Not only IITs, number of IITs were increased, number of intakes in IITs were increased, but we went down to the chain to the 8th standard, 7th standard, where the students have been prompted to participate in research and thinking by Atal Tinkering Labs. And I think that vision would lead us to have better scientists, better people who would manufacture, research, create patents for us, and we won't buy patents from outside. I don't have to tell you that number of kilometers which have been created in the road infrastructure, or the number of kilometers where the road has been expanded, which you can read out every day, and probably the access to remote areas is unparalleled to what we have seen in the 7 decades of our independence. Number of airports. I was very happy to land in Nasik and then drive to Shirdi, one of the places which I visit very frequently. Else we had to land in Mumbai and then travel for 4-5 hours to that place. That access gives you confidence. A beautiful place, Sikkim, but you would land in Bagdogra, then travel 4-5 hours. Now you can easily go to Sikkim. Every part of the corridor is connected. So the air connectivity, I think, probably is something which will help us. I'm also proud that the power production, the amount of power production which has been done is very high. You can see the records. And not only the amount of power production, the quality of power which has been there, the consistency of the power. Now the need of having intermediaries like, stabilizers have come down because the power is consistent and you can think about manufacturing in India. Well, will this solve the problem of manufacturing in India? Answer is no. This will only enable manufacturing, and this was known to us. And probably why I'm proud and today I'm standing in front of you is the PLI which my government has introduced, and I'm very proud of that. The production linked incentive. And let me quote one example too about production linked incentive. We were pained to see oil being imported, the oil prices and the oil bill in the country, which was very, very high. But that was the story when Kabir ji used to work as a young stars in cinema. With his age growing, the challenge of oil bill was coupled with importing of white gold, electronics. हर घर में हम washing machine, कहीं पे toasters, कहीं पे TV, fridge, everything, and that bill for a country is very, very high, and we've been importing that left, right, and center. Brands importing led to disseminating of Indian manufacturing, and we had this. And see the reversal which happened in the last couple of years. And let me give you one example of assembly testing, marking and packaging. This ATMP which has been introduced in production linked incentive. Simple incentive. There is an earmark package of almost around 40,951 crore rupees. The outlay is 40,951 crore rupees itself for mobile manufacturing. And you have seen that Apple iPhone has started manufacturing here. They will not only fulfill the domestic needs, but my estimations, which may be wrong, but my estimation is almost around 60% of their global trade, global export will be done from India. And you can see assume the amount of employment which will be generated here. Now this one particular example also, if I give you with another example, a vast country, I'm governing council member, I'm one of the directors of CRIS, which is part of Railways, Indian Railways, Ministry of Railways. And I was pained to see that year on year we would buy rolling stocks, whether it is coach, whether it is wagons, whether it is any other thing outside India. We would pay foreign exchange, get them here, and our domestic market was killed. But a small example of Raebareli modern coach factory. Are you aware how many coaches we have manufactured? And let me tell you the statistics. In the year 15-16, it was 285 coaches were made. And in the year 1920, see the number of jump which has been done is 1930. If you see the jump, it means it is almost around 9 times it is manufactured. I have never heard in life that in 5 years time you manufacture 9 times of your capacity. And I think the total number which is now 8,582 coaches. So you will be proud when you go in Indian Railways that the coaches are being manufactured indigenously here in India. And we didn't stop in manufacturing coaches. Locomotives were imported. And if you see the Dahod factory which is coming up in Gujarat, probably will be one of the best locomotives manufacturing industry in this country. Now, if I go on talking about this part of electronics and manufacturing here, probably I'll take a whole day. I'll give you one example, you will understand. When the entire world, and Kabirji, thank you, you brought up this issue of pandemic of COVID. In the second wave, we heard about ventilators and we were short of ventilators. The Western world was not kind enough to rent out or sell us ventilators in the need. And we saw कि ज़रूरत के समय पे जो होता है वो दोस्त जो है वो कितना कम दोस्त हो जाता है. But I'm proud that my scientists, my manufacturing unit, especially the MECVs and the industry, made us self-reliant and we made the first ventilator in 90 days. So that talks about the capacity of this country and the intelligent people we have here. How many of you have ever visited Wadi in Karnataka, or have you heard about Walchand, Hirachand or HAL, Hindustan Aeronautics? Many of us have heard about this. I don't know if you are aware that in World War II, Many of the components of the planes were exported by then British India. I don't know when it happened that we stopped manufacturing, we started importing. We also started importing maintenance staff. So if you go to Ozar, which is next to Nasik, the pain is there. We had maintenance staff coming from Russia. Forget about manufacturing about this. There is a total turnaround. 6 out of the 7 companies which have been made registered their profit, and I like to count them. Now Munition India Limited, if you heard about this MIL, it had a total loss of almost around 67 crore rupees, accumulated loss of 677 crore rupees in 3 years. And in the period of October 21, March 22, it books 28 crore rupees profit. You see the turnaround which is there from losses to profit? That tells about the environment in the country and the push which the country wants to do it. Whether if you go to advanced weapons or you go to troop comfort. Now let me give this example of IOPL. It had a loss of minus 138 crore rupees. And what we see in the 6 months is booking of profits of 26 crore rupees. Now they may sound very small when you talk about 26 crore rupees for a country, but if you see as a move, I think it is a best move that you can see. The brands are building, the confidence is building. Recently you would have seen the announcement of semiconductor policy which is there, and that has led to a lot of discussion. And I like the statement done by the minister. We have the appetite, we have the attitude, and we also have market. I request all of you who are sitting here, you are powerful people, you are capable people. My request is don't stop just importing from brands outside. Let us come together, manufacture brands here so that we can become rich, wealthy, and also teach the world the best practices which we have in our culture to them, what can be done here. My last part of the conversation today is on data. I don't know whether you have seen my book outside which was kept there. I was fortunate to write the book with best of the heroes of this country. This is the first book where RB and RAW has come together. I had opportunity to write this book with Lieutenant General Shekatkar, Lieutenant General Patil, Lieutenant General Bhatia, Lieutenant General Khandare, RAW Director Jaydev Ranade, and my book was covered by ISRO Chairman Kiran. In this particular book we talk about data, and that's the last leg. If the organizers permit me for another 3-4 minutes I can speak. We have covered this planet for 10,000 years. Sirs and madams, there were only 3 types of colonization in this world. One, military colonization, where arms were used. पहले वो पत्थर लेके आते थे, फिर उन्होंने लकड़ी लाई, फिर वो भाला लाए, फिर कैनन आया, फिर बंदूक आई, और हम पे सब पे राज किया. एक आदमी दूसरे आदमी पे, एक समूह दूसरे समूह पे, एक जाति दूसरे जाति पर, एक देश दूसरी जाति पर, और मिलिट्री कॉलोनाइजेशन होता था. But in the last 2 centuries, we saw something which is called as energy colonization, oil. And see the worst part. They sell, we buy. Russia will sell, we will buy. Iraq will sell, we will buy. Iran will sell, we will buy. But there is third country which says don't buy. Who are they? And how dare they speak about this? We are a sovereign nation. We are capable to decide where we should buy and what rate we should buy. But this colonization of oil under the name of cartels, which we saw, was called as energy colonization. Friends, these 2 colonization we read as we were growing up and we had no role to play in. But the third colonization which is engulfing this globe, Mother Earth, is data colonization. Before you know, your data is outside. And see the challenge. Somebody decides to stop the map services in Russia because Russia and Ukraine has a problem. Somebody stops and they say it is an aggression. So when Russia goes on Ukraine, it is an aggression. But then X country or Y country goes on another country, it is liberation. Who decides this word? When the dictator is ruling for 20 years, 30 years, and he favors A or B or C, then nobody speaks. But the moment it goes little here and there, then there are narratives built in Syria and Libya. I didn't like them anyways, but they are the narratives. Back home in India, we have enjoyed the last decade growing up together, but there are people who are setting narratives. And how do they have these narratives? I come from Mumbai and I know these guys who are there in Arya Colony opposing this metro project which is there. Those who come from Mumbai, they know how challenging it is to travel in Mumbai without this thing. And metro would ease it out. The first metro which has come from Warsaw to Ghatkopar proves that, how much ease it has come. But who are these people who want to do it? And I name them as enemies within. They know that they are doing something wrong, but deliberately do it because they have vested interest. But my point today is not enemies within. My point is not that somebody is challenging the development. I had an opportunity to be in a round table where Brijesh Singh, the former cyber guy from Maharashtra, was there. And he said to me in Marathi, Vinitji, सगळे ट्वीट जे आहेत ते मुंबईत नाही इतने ते सगळे पाकिस्तानमधून येतात. For the benefit of our listeners here, the tweets were not originating from Mumbai, they were originating from our neighbor Pakistan. So, data enables our enemies and adversaries to take advantages of our home disputes. मेरा भाई है, छोटा मोटा differences है, होगा, हम बात करेंगे आपस में. But if they have data, they will take advantage of this data and kill us. It is a time when one of you who is a sharp entrepreneur rises to this occasion. We have homegrown apps. They are 1/6 of human beings. हर छोटा बच्चा भारतीय है. We are 1/5 of internet world. China is not an internet world. They have a wall which has been created. We are 1/4 of consumers. हमें आदत है खाने की. We eat little more than what we need. Then how come a small economy dictate us? They will not give us data if there is a police investigation, if there is a national security issue. My request to you all, you are sharp people, I beg to you, please start manufacturing in India. Please put in thoughts how we can replace these worldwide apps and create our own brand. And I'm not talking about charity. See these guys, they're selling it for 64 billion, right? So if you make this brand, you're not going to do a charity, you are going to make money. What will happen in turn is my country will become powerful. And I remember those words of my Baba once again. Ashwaneva Gajaneva, Siyaneva Chaneva, Ajat Putra Balidata, Devo Durbal Kataka. Let's make our country a very powerful country so that nobody can look at us with their wicked eyes. Thank you very much. Bharat Mata Ki Jai.
Thank you for watching today's episode of India's Brand and Leadership Conclave. We will be back with yet another episode of leading brands and leaders of the nation. Until then, take care and stay tuned.